Hi, my name is James Hunt, and I'm doing my video project on Charles M. Schulz. He's the creator of Peanuts, the comic strip, which was an internationally published comic, numerous movies, TV shows, and gave the world the iconic figures such as Snoopy and Charlie Brown. Charles Monroe Schulz was born in Minneapolis in 1922. He was the son of a barber. 2 days after his birth, his uncle nicknamed him Sparky. Sparky was a name of a racehorse called Sparkplug in a comic, which is pretty coincidental, being what Charles M. Schulz ended up contributing to the world as a famous comic. Sparky was an only child. He ended up skipping 2 half grades in elementary school. When he entered high school, he was known to be shy as an adolescent, which is theorized because he was much younger than his high school classmates in St. Paul, Minnesota. Sparky loved drawing, and his high school actually rejected his drawings for their yearbook, which he later referenced in his Peanuts comic strip. His high school eventually ended up erecting a statue in his honor. At the age of 21, and a long battle with cancer, his mom passed away. Charles Schulz was very close to his mom, and this was a very tragic and devastating moment in his adolescence and early adulthood. Shortly after his mom's passing, Sparky was drafted into World War II, which in a way occupied his mind from his mom's passing due to the service. He saw war in Germany towards the end of World War II. He drew during his time as a way to occupy. An example of one of the drawings is on the slide. After the war and upon his return, Sparky got a job at Art Instruction Inc., where he had attended after high school. He continued to draw comics, but never submitted them to large publications because he was afraid that they would be rejected, and he was not very secure with the work that he did. Charles Schulz did, however, submit some of his comics to local publications and newspapers, and the Roman Catholic Church published a weekly comic strip in which you can see the seeds of Peanuts starting to develop as far as his characters. After several years, Charles Schulz did have the confidence to mail off some of his best comics to larger publications, and heard back from one in New York City, which asked him to come, and this is where Peanuts was born in 1950. Now that you know a brief history of Charles Schulz and his early life, we can now talk about his personality through the theories of George Kelly. Charles Schulz had the personal construct of having to mourn the loss of his mother, which was fortunately, in a way, aided by the start of World War II and occupied his mind as service. He also had to get over the construct of his high school turning down his comics and him not believing in himself and that he could become nationally recognized, which he ended up doing. The core constructs were developed as he started to get the self-esteem, and Charles M. Schulz was able to develop some of the famous icons that we know today. And according to Kelly's theory, I believe Charles Schulz had experienced corollary as he continually revised his personal constructs as a result of experience, from the experience of his mother dying tragically, through the experience of having to serve in war, and through the experience of disappointing of not having his high school and other publications turn down his comics. And therefore also he experienced construction corollary, where he learned from those experiences and anticipated future events, even if it was subliminally, as in his uncle naming him Sparky at such a young age. In conclusion, Charles Schulz overcame all of the adversities and became one of the famous people that gave us such icons as Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and Peanuts comic strips that will be in our history forever.